Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm watching VOC, the biggest company ever by Mitsi Studio. I don't know what VOC means. I don't even know what this acronym stands for. But supposedly it's the biggest company ever, so let's see what it actually is. So it's quite old and it's French.
In this video, we will be covering the rise, existence, and ultimate demise of the Dutch East India Company.
Never
VOC
mind.
for short. The Dutch VOC was the biggest
It was blue, white, and red, so I assumed it was French. But no, it's the Dutch, whose flag has the same colors, so yeah.
company that ever existed. With a company value of around $8 trillion US, more than the 20 biggest companies combined that exist in the
Damn.
world today. This success was achieved by keeping safe working conditions, a non-hostile attitude towards foreign intervention, and not adopting slavery or any ethnic cleansing. Ha! Just kidding! They mostly did the complete opposite. To understand how the VOC
I mean, you don't get rich by being an honest person or running an honest business. You just don't.
began, we must look at how the Netherlands began. In the 15th century, the Dutch provinces were under the control of the Habsburgs, a monarch family so busy with boning each other that most of them grew an eggplant for a chin. In practice, that went down kind of like this.
You know, we don't need to see this part. What the fuck am I watching? Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Is this age restricted? And he's just standing outside listening to this. Jesus fucking Christ. Can we get to the part about how this company is rich?
Anyway, they were also busy fighting wars about religion. And not good if you are more into trade than fighting religious wars and boning your own family. In 1602, this guy called Johan van Oldenbarnevelt said, "Fuck that, we have better stuff to do, like doing trade managed by a lot of competitive parties, dealing with the Portuguese, who have now become one with the Spanish, who hate us, and so we cannot trade spices anymore." Wait, okay, let's change that to one company funded by the state who makes a shitload of money at the expense of the Spanish, Portuguese, some British folks, and people with a certain type of skin color. From 1602 onwards, the VOC allowed basically anyone to purchase stocks, making it the first publicly traded company. This gave the VOC a massive growth potential over time. The Dutch government, called States General, delivered a patent saying, you can trade here and there, and everyone that gives you a hard time over this, you can shoot them with guns that we will happily buy for you guys. The recruitment of sailors
if it works,
was done
it
with
works.
quite some creativity. They would search local bars and get drunk sailors to sign a contract that was, well, not so favourable, to say the least. The next morning, these sailors would find themselves assigned to a ship about to leave home and not come back for many months or sometimes years. The ships of the VOC began their long journey passing the southern tip of Africa towards the Southeast Indies. The conditions on a ship would be brutal, with malnutrition causing diseases threatening the health of the entire crew. Just to name one, schuurbuik was a disease that could cause internal bleeding. Entire crew. Just to name one, schuurbuik was a disease that could cause.
What the fuck did he... Okay, I thought he said scurvy, but in a weird way. What is this? Oh no, this is scurvy. Okay.
Cause internal bleeding, bleeding of the gums, or give you aching limbs. For some symptoms, they could throw you below decks in the front part of the ship, where the unbearable heat would make sure you could sweat out your disease.
And
Very
probably die
sophisticated
from
medical procedures.
dehydration.
Disciplinary actions were enforced on sailors who did not follow the rules. They could be punished with a fine of 2 months' wages. But since they were paying shit wages anyway, it wasn't a lot. Deserters were flogged, and murderers were tied to their victim and thrown overboard. The most famous type of punishment was called keelhaul, where they tied the poor chap to a rope and pulled them under the hull of the ship.
I mean, this was
Not very
guaranteed
pleasant.
death.
On some of these journeys, these ships could lose more than a third of their men. When a ship and its crew survived the entire journey, it sailed over
That's what you get when you hire fucking drunk
port.
pirates.
Practically every trade route had to pass the Cape of Good Hope, the most southern tip of the African continent. It was called Good Hope because that's what you needed when facing months of brutal conditions, nasty diseases, and storms that would surely kill everyone on board. After passing the Cape of Good Hope, there were only a few ports
go
between
through
the
something
African
like this?
continent and Asia.
Thank
On the
God these
island
times
of
are
Mauritius,
over.
the Dutch colonists discovered the dodo birds. These birds were so isolated that they were fearless of any humans. This sounds very sweet, but was very dumb. The Dutch hunted down and ate many of the birds. The Dutch ships also carried many rats and other rodents, fucking up the entire ecosystem on the island, resulting in the extinction of the dodos. The VOC had many other trading posts.
I mean,
in
why
Asia.
should they care?
Batavia, now called Jakarta, was the big
They needed
rendezvous
food,
hub for
they
most
got some
ships.
food.
Batavia was established by Jan Pieter Zoon Koen, a Dutch merchant who became Governor-General of the VOC and famous for monopolizing the trade on nutmeg. He also created controversy as the butcher of the Banda Islands, where he slaughtered thousands of inhabitants to control local trade.
Huh.
He claimed, "We cannot make trade without war, nor war without trade."
Good
I guess he
points.
was very devoted to getting some nutmeg. Through Batavia, many new trade
money
routes were
talks.
established to other
If it takes killing some people for money, why not? You gotta remember, these were different times than what we have today. Today, something like this would be frowned upon. Back then, I mean, okay, it wasn't exactly the norm, but you weren't gonna have people fucking rioting against it.
parts of the Asian continent. From Mughal India to the Ming dynasty of China, silk, cotton, porcelain, and textiles were imported, as well as silver and copper from Japan. Japan basically isolated itself from any foreign trade, except for the Dutch. They could still come over and trade their shit.
I did
The
not
VOC
know about
did
that.
not have any violent encounters with the Japanese like they
I thought that the Japanese isolated themselves from literally everybody. I did not know that they actually did trade with the Dutch.
come over and trade their shit. The VOC did not have any violent encounters with the Japanese like they did on the Banda Islands. Maybe because Banda people look like this, and Japanese folks looked like this. The VOC was also instrumental for introducing European ideas to Asia. The company also supported the trade of modern technology with China and Japan, as well as sending around Christian missionaries. I guess Christianity was an easier sell back then compared to now. Sorry, Jesus. Over the years, enormous wealth was created, and the stockholders back home were getting filthy rich. They started to build big chill mansions, Dutch style, in the center of Amsterdam and other cities across the Dutch provinces. Money was invested in reclaiming land by building windmills, dikes, and more canals. This period of great wealth is named by the Dutch Gouden Eeuw, meaning golden age, or a great time for white people. With the further growth of the VOC, so did the demand for more spices and luxury goods from the Far East. More and more traders looked for cheap ways to produce these goods. This resulted in the expansion of the African and Asian slave trade. Basically, a visit from the VOC to an unknown stretch of land could go down in a few different ways. 1.
Everybody gets killed.
Hello, we would like
Everybody
to stick
naked.
around, but we are too much in a rush. This can be considered a good day for the locals. 2. Hello, we really like your land. Oh, thank you. No, you don't get it. We really like your land.
Yeah.
3. Hello, we not only really like your land, but we would also like to trade. Oh, sounds fair. What would you like to trade? Well, how about
You.
we trade all of you? Despite all its wealth and extensive military presence, the VOC was defeated in numerous places where it sought expansion. They tried to bully China into trading with the VOC, but then China bullied back by calling the Dutch a bunch of red-haired barbarians and blew up a few ships, imprisoned a few red Harrys, and called it a day. They were also repelled by the Vietnamese and the Cambodians, who massacred a few red Harrys and again blew up some ships. Did not expect that from a bunch of Cambodians, but still, did happen. But don't worry that the VOC couldn't spare a few ships.
I mean, they were fighting them thousands of kilometers away from home.
Over a 200-year time span, they equipped more than 4,700 ships. At its height, the VOC
Impressive.
employed more than 50,000 people and deployed a private army of 10,000 soldiers. The exact
that's
number of slaves that were taken
not
remains
many.
unknown, but our best guess would be more than enough.
More than enough.
In the late 18th century, a perfect storm of events, no pun intended, led to the end of the VOC. The Netherlands lost the Fourth Anglo-Dutch War with the British Empire in 1784.
Oh.
Not more than a decade later, the French invaded the Netherlands, and the VOC's trading network fell into disarray. In the year 1799, these costly battles combined with the introduction of new competitive trade markets, widespread corruption, turmoil within its politics, and finally paying shitty wages to its employees, doomed the VOC. Luckily, most modern multinationals have learned from these mistakes.
No, they have not. It's all the same shit. It's great to see that after hundreds of years, we still do the same stuff and nothing has changed. This was a really good video, very entertaining and also informative. Obviously, some of this probably wasn't completely right, some of it was probably wrong, some stuff was definitely left out. This is probably just an oversimplification, but it was entertaining, so it's good enough. I mean, yeah, what else is that to say other than the Dutch really knew what they were doing, and they did it well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you're interested, why not watch this video right here? And with that, I hope I'll see you in the next video.